Welcome to another episode of Coffee Conversation, Stree, Shakti, powered by the Emerging India Forum, TEIF, Lions Club of Mumbai Shining, India Business Group, IBG, Indian Chamber of International Business, ICIB, our tech partner, Prime Infotech Solution. So today's theme is 9 signs you need help with role of coach, change agent. Our guest for today is Sujatha Suresh. She has 14 years of experience in training. She is an international career coach, interpreter of psychometric instruments. Sujatha is known for effective expertise as a coach, change agent, and excellent behavioral trainer. Welcome, Sujatha. So our format is we first cover your professional journey, then your personal journey, and then we have a surprise round that is our rapid fire round. So let's begin our coffee conversation, Sujatha. My first question will be, when did you start your training career?
Actually, training started in the year 2000. I designed programs before that also. I was very passionate about education and students, women. So I was into the teaching line. I started designing programs for students and teachers and parents. So that was in mid-90s when there was no internet. And yes, and there was no profession called training, but I used to design programs. And professionally, I started training from 2000. In 2007, we started program, our firm.
Okay. So what did inspire you to take up training only or not other career?
That's fabulous. What I noticed is that, I was very passionate as a teacher. I might have as well retired as a teacher. That could have been a good option also. Nothing wrong with it. A small incident happened. May I share that?
Yeah, please go.
So one of my students in one of the schools, Suresh, my husband, was in the IT sector. So he was job hopping a lot, and I hopped along with him. And we were in Bangalore when I was a math teacher in one of the international schools. And so one of my students in quarterly, she scored some 23 marks in Hindi, and rest of the subjects she scored extremely high. Now, she knew me as being a person who would not be judging her, and she saw me looking into her report card. She said, "Ma'am, you're hinting something." I said, "Yeah, I'm just wondering why Hindi." Then she said, "Ma'am, nobody knows Hindi in my house." That was a changing moment for me. That answer was not acceptable, Rami. As such, I was like, I was able to accept everything else. But that answer particularly intrigued me, and I didn't know why. That became my stepping stone for my changing career. So I asked her, knowing her family, I said, maybe your grandfather knows computers extremely well. You scored well in computers. She said, no, ma'am, my grandfather knows only remote control and he never gives it to anyone. And then I said, maybe your mama knows English extremely well. She said, no, ma'am, mama knows only Kannada. And by then I didn't have to ask a third question, Ami. She said, ma'am, you're hinting something. I said, yes. No one else knows these two subjects and you scored high. Shall we try something for Hindi? She was excited. She said, ma'am, tell me what. I said, can you write some lines in Hindi and give? She would write and give me every day, Amirr, standing near the door, a page torn from some notebook with scribbles. And then I would just wink at her, pick it up, put it into my bag, and then continue with my math class. Come back to my staff room, and I would go through the textbook along with a Hindi man and check the answers. She wrote extremely well. Long story short, after a few weeks, I asked her, can you write your answers on your own? She said, definitely, ma'am. She moved Amirr from 23 to 75 plus. And I, as usual, very excited, went and told this to my husband. See, Sue, what happened? And you know what Sue said? He said, you should stop teaching maths and physics. I thought, what? I didn't know this would be the end of my career. He said, you should start teaching people how to overcome their challenges in life. And so I started designing programs for what stops students learning maths they generally come with a fear. So we integrated breathing practices, memory techniques, and design programs. So, and then I became a certified trainer, and that's how. This is a very satisfying line for me. And every day we see someone or the other overcoming their hesitations and reaching out to people, seeing them succeed, very fulfilling, Amirr.
Interesting. So building on this conversation, how do you identify and leverage your students' strengths? And we like to know the process behind it.
Thank you. That's such a meaningful question. See, good intention can lead us sometimes somewhere, but not all the time. So these road signs, road maps, these milestones are very, very important. Conversation, as you're having with me, it's one of the most important aspects to just listen to the other person. And sometimes something which is not in line comes out and not normally heard to. So sometimes in some of my conversations, I come across that they're actually aspiring to be something else. That becomes my cue. To just support all this, I actually use psychometric assessments, Amirr, and we have tried a lot, many, and then we have zeroed in on one now. And this we find is very, very encouraging. It helps us to understand which is the career best suited for the child. This comes from another area of interest also, Amirr. I want to add on over here. In the initial days of my training, this was in Chennai, 2000 to 2005, 6 itself. I noticed many people very sad or upset. You know, they are earning extremely well, very qualified. However, their happiness is not shown on their face. This cause intrigued me. I said, what could be the reason? And when I searched and found out that most of them were working in jobs which were not aligned to their value system. So the psychometric assessments was actually a guideline for me that along with good intention, use the proper tool. And now we find that we are able to help the people move on with some of them have to change their career line. Some of them may have to relook at it differently. And we are helping them integrate that.
That's interesting. So now, my next question will be, today's leadership are experiencing difficulties. So what is your suggestion to them? What should they focus on? What should they try?
I actually had to take a coffee sip for that question. To tell you what I see in leadership is it's challenging times. It is VUCA. It is, we say VUCA time, right? And it is unpredictable. What with the hybrid variety of work options that have come up, it's not easy for any leader. It is, or every leader, it is a challenge. What I would suggest is that a leader actually moves from being just a leadership role of making decisions or strategy for the organization. They should actually involve themselves, put skin to grind, and involve in conversations with their juniors, peers, create a time to understand what exactly is happening at the grassroots level, what's happening at every level. This has one thing I would definitely recommend the leaders to do. The second thing is look at a leadership model, not just as model A, B, or C. Today, we'll have to combine shall I say that, even if we look at different leadership styles, we should know when to integrate which of it. This awareness is very needed for the leader. Third thing I would suggest is that the leader should be equipped with resilience to withstand this. Emotional intelligence and resilience. They should be into some form of practice. I'm not talking of only gym over here, Amirr. They should be looking at any change that can come is only at the thought level. First, it comes at the thought level. And if they can nourish that thought level, Then what we can do is bring in a change otherwise, where outside. So within is the first change we should look at and equip ourselves. So this pranayama can be very supportive. This is something which I would say, and some form of meditation that helps them ground themselves. These are few factors.
So you have worked in your career with companies at various levels. So how do you bring about what are the plans you make? What are the objectives you focus on where the company, the leadership, the team you're working with see the change, what you have desired, and how do you measure this?
That's such a good question, and I'm very grateful for this because we may start as a training program, but we take up the ownership to see what all can be added. One I see is recently, I take this example for an organization. I did management of stress. This organization is a very, very matured organization, and they are very caring for their associates. I did an assessment in that during that program, I did an audit of their energy levels, Amirr, and then I could see that there were so many gaps over there. I gave my feedback to the organization, and today I did this about in the month of January, and by February, March, they were asking me what all should we make as changes. The learning and development department was so matured to understand. Now, what can be recognized from a stress management program? I just want to share when we do some of the conversations with the participants, we do this assessment of the energy audit we do. What we recognize is that how pressurized they are, A. B is we see that they come from different departments, and when we engage, we enable them to talk and we facilitate for them to express without blaming anyone. They start helping me understand where are the stress points for them. And from there, I understand because of this extensive experience, I'm able to understand does it impact at a new product level, or where does it? If I take an example of a manufacturing company, a new product is being developed. If the inputs of all the products are not given to the person in the store team, they won't know how to put together that should go on to the conveyor belt. Simple thing. The person gets affected with stress, and the organization's work gets impacted. So these kinds of observations, when I intensely put in my attention to bringing all this to the notice of the L&D department, they in turn really respond saying that, hey, we should be doing something about this. And, sometimes we see that change of leadership with the assessments, we get to understand change of leadership impacts different departments' functions. And so, then we guide the leader, not finding fault with anybody. It is that how can we make it more productive for everybody?
That's interesting. Our viewers like to know what are the elements for change management in a company.
We can take any of the models that are there for change, handling change. What I see is, very important is that while organizations may want change management, they want that because they want, some of them would want the change to happen. They think someone else has to bring in the change. All right. So it is that's why I said the leaders should be putting their skin to grind. It's an important aspect that the leaders understand that if they set the context well, okay, then the way the associates absorb is much better. So I would say that it should be a wholesome process where all of us involved are participating with a lot of trust and eagerness to make the difference. And each of us will start, suddenly the ideas will grow very well. Many of the models work very well. All right. But when there is, in the case, I just wish to add over here one aspect, which is not directly part of the change, but it is impacting of late, Amirr, is the resignations that's happening. I've earlier had a conversation on great resignations or laying off. All right. Now, when that is happening, it's putting a lot of mental pressure on the existing associates. When is it my turn, or when is it I'm going to be asked to leave, or should I prepare myself to get another job? Now, when there is change going on in an organization in such a kind of environment, it's important for the leaders to help the associates understand that this will not be done in that you come Monday morning and we give you a pink slip. We don't do that. We actually engage with you and help you understand. So the models of change have been really deliberated well, but these are few factors I thought I will add on over here.
That's interesting. My next question will be, how do you envision your work changing over the next few years? And what steps will you take for the changing environment?
Awesome. You're making my day by asking these questions. It is said that, the learning and development, learning industry itself is going to grow by $3 trillion. All right. It's going to grow that way. This is a moment for all L&D professionals to become change agents, to be able to coach very well, to recognize what needs to be changed, to be able to address, like you said, the 9 signs. All right, coaching is needed. If we can start recognizing how do we help each person, we can become very meaningful for the environment around us, the society around us. One factor I see is that for the environment, if I see these as our changes for me, what I see as I'll be contributing towards building, see, mental strength is very important. Like the pandemic that went by a few years ago and left a lot of scars for many lives. There is something which, we learning and development people are watching the trends. It's something, those of us who are concerned about the social fabric, we are concerned about the mental pandemic that's likely to come up. We are hearing a lot about suicides. As a trainer, it is important to understand that we contribute towards the society's well-being. And this is an important aspect. So promoting some form of pranayama, even a short, a short program I do, I see that, I help them learn some small pranayama practice with a demo, giving them a demo, because it's not just, that we read from somewhere and then do. It is what we practice, what we find effective, that we help people do. This, Amirr, we are including in all our programs of whether it is leadership or it is for young students. We are finding a lot of benefit from this. So I see this as a moral responsibility towards bringing in awareness of one's health, mental well-being. Another factor I see I play a role in is jokes and laughter. Generally, people, they tend to laugh at someone. Okay. Cheerfulness and happiness is not from within. This is an area of concern. So, I bring in humor a lot. And then I bring in humor. I say that if we can laugh at ourselves, that's wonderful. We don't laugh at others. Can we come up with a funny situation, or we bring in that kind of videos which really makes people burst out into laughter, and in itself a great value add for the health and mental well-being of people. The other factor I see is that, of course, psychometric assessments can make a major change for people to make a choice of what course to pursue, what career to pursue, a good opportunity for people to relook. And the last one is I'm presently invited for G20 conference in Bengaluru. So I wish to play a major role there towards rural development. So I'm participating in Panchayat 20. And whatever be it, India is a country of agriculture. Would love to give and contribute towards the agriculturalists in some way or the other. These are some ways.
So our best wishes to you make an impact at G20 conference.
Thank you.
My next question will be, Sujata, what is the role of ICIB playing in your career, and Why is certification important for a coach or trainer?
I see this is very, very important, Amirji. See, when I say I have a good intention, I may have a good intention, but do I know how to articulate it? Most of the time, what happens is that it's my database that instills within me to speak what I want to speak. But it is important to understand what I should speak to bring in the right change in what I speak. This calls for a lot of awareness. Just awareness is not enough. There is a framework that is needed. Those coaching models which have been evolved, all right, be it Goldsmith, be it anybody who's evolved it, they have done it with a lot of thought. These kinds of coaching sessions, when I undergo a certification, I find that I'm being groomed into understanding the impact of something which has been structured very well. I find that certifications can give a lot of value. We'll have to learn to understand how to take the distill it and make it effective also, and understand it from the perspective of the participants that we are applying it to. But undergoing a mentoring program, coaching program, certification is very, very important. According to me, that gives like the walls give a framework to hold the ceiling, right? In career, as I'm refining my thought process, certifications actually help me and support me to enable me to do what I want to do well.
One success story I've already shared, but we want to know more success stories which you have achieved during your career. But we want to know according to different segments of audience.
All right. One is Mr. Nandakumar. I can't name the organization or anything else. Nandakumar came to me by LinkedIn. He said, I want to be coached by you and your husband. And his desire in his life was to write a book. And so, cheers to him. He wrote a book and he actually took our names in the preface of it, felt very good about it. And the second one is we did an assessment for an organization called Aspire. I don't mind taking the name over here. The person I'm talking of is Mr. Chendal Nadan, and we had done some years ago. The company remembered us and then came back and asked, can you we want to look at him for a higher role, and can you groom him for that higher role? Today, he is handling a very huge across different countries. He's equipped and he's handling his role extremely well. The third one is not a success story, but it is a story of realization, if I may. This is a person who used to advise students a lot. He works again in an organization. And when we did the debrief for him, I was sharing with him that he has a very good intention for people. And he should have actually gotten into this field. I was sharing with him. I thought he'll feel happy, but he actually started tearing down. He held on himself a few minutes. I waited. And then he said, Sujata, till now, I have been advising every student who comes to me, you get into this, you get into this. And I thought I was doing a good job. But today, when you're giving me these inputs and what career would have been suited for me, I realized I probably misguided so many students with all the best intentions. I thought I will share this.
Interesting. One personal question I'd like to know, how do you handle upsets, failures which come in your life?
I have to take the name of my family. It is my 3 daughters and husband who have seen everything, what I can be, where I was to where I am today. Every moment encouraging me. I also say that my mother-in-law is a very brave lady. She's no more. But my parents-in-law, my parents, they have been the pillars. They have shown me what it means to be very confident and courageous. I attribute, and they had this ability to just laugh it off. I don't know how they did that. Today I see that I translate it in work. The other things that have supported me is that it used to be very difficult for me to come out of any setbacks. But attention towards health and meditation, the devotion and meditation suits me very well. I'm not really the yoga kind of a person, but I'm definitely into this form of it. So listening to songs, singing songs can help me a lot.
So now we come to your personal journey. How do you balance your work life? What is the secret recipe of managing work front as well as home front?
Planning. I don't say I'm perfect. I don't say I manage every day extremely well. But by the end of the day, I see that I have reached out to every person who has made a change in my life. This includes you also, Amirr. I may not do according to the time frame that I would have liked to set, but I don't give up. So I respect relationships a lot and I plan a lot. So that has helped me a lot in my personal life. Also, I co-opt with people. Okay. So my family sometimes teases me that I do a lot of delegation. Yes, I do a lot of delegation. Beginning from the flower vendors or vegetable vendors who are the way I connect with them, the way I respect them. In the event I'm not able to go out, they will say, in Tamil, they will say, Enama, Varutuma, and they come and then they support. Including people in my life has been my biggest asset.
Yeah. So my next question will be, who is your major support in your family?
That's a bit difficult to say. Definitely through my husband, my daughters. I have 3 of them. I have some very good well-wishers. I would like to take their names who have understood. It's not that we meet on a daily basis. It's not that we meet often. But at this moment, I have to take their name. And so 3 mentors in my life, Chair, and my gurus. Yes. They've all been there for me. I would also like to say that some of my friends who have helped me see that I can do something more. Whether it is a marriage, whether it is an event, I just have to look at them and say, hey, I think I need something. And they'll say, I'm there for you. And they all have really helped me be through any time. Thank you. I can't name any one of them. I have to name a lot.
Yeah, there are people who, once you start sitting down and being in gratitude, I'm sure your list, there will be many people to say being gratitude to them, not only to them, about the many things we have to be gratitude about. So you can sit after the coffee corner at night and start your gratitude journal. Yeah.
Yes.
My next question will be, since this is a Stree Shakti episode, what is Stree Shakti to you?
It means a lot, Amirji. It means a lot. I like to take the example of Jindal. All right, Jindal Group. I used to do a lot of training for them. OP Bauji, who's the founder member, he would say one thing: एक लड़का को पढ़ाया, एक घर बसता है. एक लड़की को पढ़ाए, तो दो घर बसते हैं. You know, two houses are saved. A very simple way he said that. And in many ways, I hold a lot of gratitude to him, because it's a mother who can make a difference for her children. It's the woman who can make a change for the family, for her children, for the environment around them. If we can just nurture ourselves in a certain way, we become the strength for others. We become the nourishment. We become the nourishment for others. Every woman should recognize this. Yes, something comes back to us. Many a time, nothing comes back to us. But still, can we be that? Because I don't think any plant, fruit, leaf, flower has ever asked, whom will I go to? And what do I gain? हम बस होते हैं. And we should be able to see that as a value. So, Stree is very, very important. Not because she is better than a man. It is because only with a man, along with the men, we, the women, should be able to collaborate and make greater things happen. You can call it the alchemy, because the sensitivity to watch what's happening is probably given. The women's minds are wired differently, they say. The brains are wired differently. And, you know, there are many jokes on this. So I do recognize that. And not only that, even organizations nowadays are looking at trying to bring women to the top layer of leadership. And it comes to a good strength, all right? So not to compete with men, but to experience life and to offer life in its largest possible way, collaborating with men. Stree makes a major difference. She's an influencer. She should accept it. And she should nurture herself to a way to be a good nourisher. Yeah.
Brilliant answer you gave on the feminine Devi, Stree Shakti. There are many different names. Like to know, how do you spend your free time?
I read a lot. I will be watching a lot of news. All right. This is something which I watch a lot. I don't maybe absorb news as data and you know, numbers the way others do, but I see trends through that. Okay, this is of great interest for me. And thinking, as I said earlier, also as I shared, means a lot to me. I love listening to instrumental music, and of course, songs. Some songs really can trigger a lot of emotions, and it was beautiful. Okay, and walking, going for treks, walks. These are some things I really, really enjoy.
That's interesting actions you do. We'd like to know, Sujata ji, which book have you finished reading recently and what were the key learnings?
It's so strange that you're asking like this, because, you know, this is by, you know, 12 ways a woman puts herself down. All right. Miss Halligan, Sally Halligan has written that. And it was each one of them. See, what I was observing a lot, this is one of my areas of, you know, I introspect a lot as to why women behave the way they do. Why do they behave like this? Why do they say this? How do I translate this and look at it from a different perspective? So I was thinking that this is the social voice within India. But when I read that book, I recognized that it is actually global, right? How women put themselves down. And this became my, I read it a lot and I was like too impressed about it. I actually complimented Miss Sally on that. And the best part is one organization called me to do the book review for them. And so, I was able to work on that also. I was able to review the book. Yes. And this is a book that has really touched me because it shows me that it is it's global. So Stree Shakti, किसी भी नाम पे, it is global.
So yeah, continue a conversation. Describe Sujata in one line.
Describe Sujata in one line. क्या यार, ये तो बड़ी मुश्किल हो गई.
One word.
Sorry?
Or one word.
One word. A woman who loves to see people succeed. Yeah. Caring one, a committed one.
So continuing, Sujata, you have volunteered for different organizations. So what attracted you to be a volunteer and what impact did it make on your life?
That's an amazing question, and I'm grateful that you asked that. When we are volunteering, our programs maybe, we bring in this factor of volunteering. We need 2 volunteers, we say, or we need 4 volunteers. The beauty of being a volunteer is that you don't know what work will be assigned to you. That's a place which breaks one's limitations. Now, qualifications will not come there. Your upbringing, nothing, your whole self is put to test. All right. And so what happens is it brings so much of willingness within one. When I say I'm a volunteer, I'm just willing. What you give as a work it will make me understand no job is small or big. All right. And so we can do anything that comes our way. Another observation through COVID I did, Amirji, and this is something very interesting for me. I like to share. I have not done a research per se that can be published as a white paper, but I did my research for those organizations where I volunteered. All of us who were involved in volunteering in an NPO, not-for-profit organization, I found that we didn't get the first wave of COVID, we didn't get affected. This was strange for me. Our mental happiness was still there. Our courage of withstanding was still continuing. And this amazed me. Second wave, we didn't get affected. And if by chance few of them got affected, they revived very fast. The third wave, almost all of us got affected. But that was the time when the virus had become intelligent enough to understand that it has to coexist with the human being. So, it made us grow immune to. So I saw this as a great possibility that when I become a volunteer, I'm willing, I become open. And so when I become open to understanding and seeing life, ability to accept things, all right? This, controlling is a quality that many suffer with. They want to control the happening of everything. बस उतना ही तो control कर सकते हैं जिंदगी में. So, we focus on getting the net result achievement, all right? Slight shift in our perceptions and our focus brings great results. So I actually would share with organizations, is there a possibility that you can bring in volunteering as a part of your CSR? Let them put their time and effort and see what changes is happening in life, which is much larger than all of us. To my surprise, last month when I was recently when I was flying Indigo, I found that volunteering is one of the options they give their employees. So volunteering is great joy. It's fun. You're working with so many people from so many different walks of life. It is like a garden of flowers. The more colors, the better.
Very true, very true. We have seen spiritual gurus like Ramcharan, Sadhguru have impacted your life. So what attracted these spiritual gurus, and what were the key learnings you got from them?
Wow, thank you. I will actually start with one name you haven't yet mentioned, sir. And this is Stephen Covey. Okay.
My next question is that.
Oh, I see.
It's the spiritual gurus.
Yeah. Yeah. Stephen Covey, I will just start with. You can ask the question. I'll just share. He's the first person in 2010. I attended a program with him. My husband flew me to Mumbai to attend this program, and it was leadership in challenging times. I wanted to know how should I be doing leadership programs, and learning from him would be good. I was in for a surprise. I asked him a question, and we'll come to that later. And he came to me and he gave me a bouquet of roses and said that, "Are you willing to be a turnboat?" I said, "What?" He said, "Are you willing to be a turnboat?" Then I said, And I came out and then I searched out. In the break time, I searched, what does it mean? It is that small blade in a huge ship, which actually turns initially, and because of which the entire ship is able to change direction. I'm associating this with what you're doing now, sir, Sri Shakti. If we decide to make a small change in our attitude and in our way of behaving, suddenly the whole society will also start aligning towards something which is so meaningful. So I took Stephen Covey's name also because he came to me later and said, "Find your voice, help others find theirs." When I came out, the program got over. I searched, what is this? And someone told me it's the 8th habit. He's going to release it next year. And that became my mantra, that find my voice and help others find theirs. So I try to translate it into my work as often as possible. So he is one. Ramcharanji, oh my God, he is a person who literally is on the move always. And when you listen to him, his ability of grasping a situation and then giving a solution, it all happens within his thinking system as he's conversing. Now, this is an amazing inspiration for me. And this is, again, so what he says is, he says, I can't compile it into one sentence, but what he shows is that, you can make a difference. As a leader, can you grow on your insights? Because that is where you can make a difference for yourself and for the people around. And every time we hit a roadblock, insight is the one that helps us out. This actually leads me to Sadhguru, who actually speaks about insights. And he says, wherever you are, can you make the difference that is needed? This was something amazing because one sentence Sadhguru said, and I read long ago, was that your work is an expression of who you are. So when you want to work better, you need to work on who you are. Okay. This was a challenge for me initially. And my husband also gave me that kind of a thing. He said, Pravara is about transforming people's lives. So facilitating inner transformation, unless you are transformed, why should people listen to you? I said, gosh, such a big book he's giving me. And so all of them have helped me identify that I can make a difference. And for that, I need to work on myself. Each one of them has contributed. Thank you.
How the experience being with the Sadhguru?
I don't know how long do you want me to talk? All right. All of them are in one way or the other. Stephen Covey would actually say, before I come to Sadhguru, Stephen Covey says every organization, it may look at different functions, but if it doesn't nourish the spirit of people, so if it is not spiritual, people will not hold on to that organization. They will at one stage or the other leave it and go. So that's why I took his example question. Now, how is the experience being with Sadhguru? Can I just sing 2 lines?
Yeah.
Sathiya re, sathiya re, sathiya re, sathiya. Tu jahan bhi, main wahi hu, main jahan bhi, tu wahi re. That's it. So Sadhguru is in every aspect of my life.
Beautiful.
It's because of him. It's because of him that my training has become so much more better. There is so much more meaning to my life, so much more commitment towards my training. Every aspect of work that I do, the commitment is that much because of him. And if it is for me, I'm sure every guru must be for every devotee.
True. A guru shows the way, impacts, and helps us achieve our life purpose. So my next question will be, what advice will you give to a newcomer who just has started his or her training and coaching career?
I love that. It is a misnomer amongst many youngsters, many people, training program I go also, they come and say, I want to become you. Okay. But they don't know what kind of journey we go through internally, so much of turning. All right. I would say that, can you start something in training in maybe like a process training where the journey is very simple? I would suggest that do this. But if you design a program on your own, what would you bring and why do you bring? Because I used to spend, Amirji, when I started training, even for a program like communication program, I used to study for 16 hours. Okay. Because it is not about my knowing, it is about my enabling a real understanding within my audience. And so it is an important aspect. So I have, like you have 9 signs, all right? I do, mine may be slightly different, but then I have the following things. Read on every aspect of training that is possible. Second, please take up certification, which is very, very important, and more global, the better. That investment will never go waste. It'll enhance one's life. Third, join forums, listen to people's conversations, read the conversations, read the postings. So that takes me to the next one, which is LinkedIn. Join LinkedIn. I'm not promoting LinkedIn. I'm not being paid for that, but it's a blue ocean. And there's a lot of conversations that happen over there that can help one really start recognizing. All right. The next thing is that, this I take away from one of my trainees. When he learned English, I believe, an HR who speaks extremely well. And I was telling him, that you speak so well and you articulate so well. And he said, man, 2 years ago, if you had seen me, I could not form one sentence properly in English. So, you know what he did, Amir? He would go to the chaiwala on the road and tell, I believe, give me 2 tea. And the chaiwala would feel very happy. Someone is talking to him in English. Huh? So a trainer, it's good if you go and train maybe those on the street who don't know any language, or, the lower the better. One, you'll start seeing life from a different perspective. They also have fun moments. They also have difficult moments, and they also overcome so many things. As a trainer, to be able to understand society is very important. The next is definitely using social media. Listen to conversations and talks by all the famous people. Don't hold any limitation. Oh, I will listen to this one. I will not listen to that one. No. The next one is that, start identifying. I'm coming towards the last three, which are very important. That start identifying your area of interest and strength. All right. It's not that you do training in everything. All right. You'll start identifying, people start identifying, this is where we need her. All right. Or him. That is where we should be able to get into. But for that, we needed to go through all this part of our social interactions. And once you start understanding this is your area of strength, now you please do so much research about it from different, look at different sections of society, different ranges of work. This has helped me immensely. And the different layers and what are the social voices that are there in that level. So you get into behavioral training at that stage onwards. And for behavioral training, it's not about you passing a judgment. It is important that you enable and facilitate a greater happening because of your involvement there. Now you come to the final stage that people will look up to you and they'll say that, hey, you must be there, especially because my gray hair shows here that, people say that, retirement. And I say, I may get tired, but retire, never. Okay. You become such a valuable contributor to society that at every stage or the other, someone or the other just wants to be with you. So a trainer has this huge possibility to become a change agent, to become an influencer, and actually not become too proud about it. Accept it as a role that needs a lot of commitment, and do it with flair.
So we come to this personal round because there are many more conversations which we can continue. We will be having a different segment which will communicate. Now coming to the surprise round, the rapid fire round. So you have to give your answers very quickly.
Sure.
Let me take my tourist place, Bangalore or Dehradun?
Sorry?
Which is your favorite tourist place, Bangalore or Dehradun?
Dehradun.
Coffee or tea?
Coffee, anytime.
Sari or Punjabi suits?
Sari.
Favorite actress, Kajol or Kareena?
Kajol. But attitude ke liye Kareena.
Okay. Which language is preferred, English or Hindi?
I love Hindi. I love Hindi and Kannada. Yeah.
Okay. Says one, what do you say, a poem in Hindi. We can end up this conversation.
Poem in Hindi. Oh my gosh.
Anything.
Okay. खुदा आपको और आपके परिवार को हिफाजत से रखे. Amirr ji, you have done such a great, it has been so wonderful conversing with you. What else can I say? Other than that, you are making such a great contribution to me as a woman to listen to what I have to say. But believe me, sir, when you start presenting this, you'll be enlightening so many people's lives. So खुदा आपको और आपके परिवार को हिफाजत से रखे और आपकी टीम को भी. You have a very happening team.
Thank you. Thank you. So with this, we come to engaging conversation and enriching lives, which Sujatha Suresh did remarkably, and look forward to the conversation on our YouTube channel, the Coffee Conversation Show. Do subscribe and We look forward to many more episodes of a coffee conversation in which we have in different series. This is one of the series, Stree Shakti. We have the emerging lawyer, the emerging entrepreneur. For student, we have for cybersecurity professionals, we have, and for working professionals, also we have. So we have completed, what do you say, 3 years journey in
Wow.
the Coffee Conversation show. So do shower your love and look forward to more, what do you say, engaging and enriching conversations. So I'm just stopping the recording.
Thank you so much.